In the year 2486, humans lived across hundreds of planets. On a dusty mining colony called Rithan 4, people came from many worlds, but most lived quiet, lonely lives. One of them was Aaron Vale, a 34-year-old human engineer. He worked long shifts, repairing machines deep under the planet's surface. He didn't talk much to others and mostly kept to himself. His home was a small metal unit near the edge of the mining zone, cold and silent. Aaron wasn't unkind, just tired. Years of working alone had made him forget how to talk freely with anyone. He had no family here, no friends. He often came home, ate in silence, and stared at the gray walls of his quarters. One day, during a rest period, Aaron scrolled through a popular galactic trade network. Among the tools and parts, a new tab caught his eye. Cross-culture companionship. Contracts. He hesitated. It sounded strange, but curiosity made him click. The page showed peaceful legal agreements between species. It said many alien cultures offered volunteer companions to humans to promote understanding and friendship across stars. These companions weren't slaves. They chose to join the program. They could leave at any time. Aaron didn't know why. But something about the idea stayed in his mind. Later that night, after another quiet meal, he tapped the tab again. He read stories, humans who met aliens, learned from them, and even helped build peaceful bridges between worlds. One image showed a tall alien woman with bright eyes and soft silver-blue skin. Her name was Liari. Aaron looked closer. Her bio said she was Nayari, a species known for their music, wisdom, and long memories. She spoke 6 languages, had studied human customs, and asked to be placed with someone peaceful and quiet. Her note said, "I don't want wealth. I want peace. A quiet place. A kind home." Aaron stared at her face on the screen. She had a gentle look, not forced, not sad. Calm. For the first time in a long while, he felt something stir inside maybe. Hope, or maybe just the desire to hear another voice. After 2 more days of thinking, he signed the contract. A week later, Liari arrived. Aaron stood near the landing pad in his dusty gray jacket, arms crossed. A small ship landed gently on the pad. The door opened, and Liari stepped out. She was taller than he expected, with long hair like silver silk tied behind her neck. Her eyes were wide, glowing slightly with a soft green light. She wore a simple white cloak, and when she saw him, she smiled. Not a fake smile, a real one. "You are Aaron Vale?" she asked in smooth, accented English. "Yes," he said, a little nervous. "And you're Liari?" She nodded. "It's good to finally meet you." They walked together back to his unit. Aaron opened the door and let her in. She looked around the small living space, touched the smooth wall, and quietly said, "It's peaceful here. I like it." Aaron watched her closely. She didn't seem scared or confused. In fact, she looked calm, content. The first few days were quiet. Liari spoke softly, helped clean, and even fixed a broken light in the kitchen. She asked about his work. He told her about mining machines, the tunnels, and how dust got into everything. She listened carefully, always curious. "You live so deep in the ground," she said once. "Don't you miss the sky?" Aaron shrugged. "Skies. Just black out here, but it pays well." Yari didn't judge. She only said, "Still it must be lonely." That night, Aaron couldn't sleep, lay in bed, thinking about her words. He hadn't told anyone he felt lonely not in years, but she saw it. One evening, Aaron was working on a faulty console when Liari sat beside him. She watched as he fixed wires and reset the system. "You're good at this," she said. "I've done it long enough," he replied. "I like watching you work," she said quietly. "You care about what you fix?" Aaron looked at her, confused. "A lot of people think I'm just a quiet guy with dirty hands." "Maybe," she smiled, "but I think you're someone who keeps things running when everyone else forgets." To look, no one had ever said that to him before, not even close. Later, they sat outside, watching the night sky. 2 moons glowed dimly above. Liari pulled her cloak tighter around her shoulders. Why did you join the program? Aran finally asked. Really? Liari looked up, thoughtful. My people once lived in great cities. We had art, music, and stories. But after the war, most of it was lost. My culture is broken. So I left to see the galaxy, to find peace, to remember who we were, and you came here? To this dust rock, she smiled. I didn't choose the planet, I chose you. You seemed quiet like me. Aaron didn't know what to say. For the first time, he felt seen, not just as a worker, but as a person. That night, as he sat in his room, Aaron looked at a photo on his wall, an old picture of Earth, taken before he left. He thought of Liari's words, thought of her smile, her calm presence, and how she hummed softly when she cooked. She wasn't just happy to be here, she was happy with him. And somehow, deep inside, that made Aaron feel less alone than he'd felt in years. A week had passed since Liari arrived, and Aaron's life had already changed. Every morning he would find the kitchen warm with a soft scent of food. Yari cooked with care, using both human and Nyari ingredients she brought in small packets. Her meals were simple, but full of gentle flavors Aaron had never tasted before. She had also made small changes in his home. A dull corner now had a low light with moving patterns like waves. The main room smelled faintly of sweet plants from her world. His home still looked the same, but it felt different. It felt live. Aaron didn't say much, but he noticed everything. He also noticed how she hummed as she worked, how she stood by the window to watch the stars, and how she treated everything with quiet respect. One evening, as he was repairing a worn-out circuit board at the workbench, Yari sat beside him again. Just like before. You fix things like a surgeon, she said, watching his steady hands. Aaron smiled a little. I've had years of practice. Machines are easier than people. Liari tilted her head. You don't speak much to people, do you? He shook his head. Not really. They talk too fast or expect too much. I just like peace. She nodded. So do I, but peace doesn't. Mean being alone all the time? Aaron glanced at her. She wasn't wrong. Her presence had brought something gentle into his life, like sunlight on cold stone. The next day, they went to the local supply post. It was a small box-shaped building run by an old trader named Marlowe, who had seen every kind of visitor come and go. When Aaron entered with Liari, Marlowe raised an eyebrow. Didn't know you had company these days, he said, smirking. Aaron just gave a short nod and looked through parts. Marlowe turned to Liari. You one of those companion types? Liari smiled. Yes, I chose this placement. Huh, never seen someone so happy about it, Marlowe said, then returned to counting tools. Back outside, Aaron looked at her. That didn't bother you? No, she replied. Many people think my kind is forced into this, but they don't understand. I made a choice, and I don't regret it. Aaron looked at her closely. You really mean that, don't you? She stopped and faced him. Her voice was soft but firm. Aaron, I wasn't sold. I wasn't owned. My people believe in choice. The war we went through our loss it taught us the value of choosing our own path. World and live among others. I chose to meet you. Aaron didn't know what to say. He had never heard someone speak with such quiet strength before. That night, while Liari made tea, Aaron sat at the table and finally asked the question he had been holding for days. What was your world like before the war? Liari placed 2 cups on the table and sat down. She looked into the steam rising from her tea and spoke slowly. My world, Niara, was filled with light. Our cities floated above green oceans. We lived in harmony with nature. Music wasn't just sound, it was part of our way of life. But when the Shirk invaded, everything changed. They didn't understand our ways. They destroyed our archives, burned our temples, and shattered our sky cities. Aaron listened closely. Many of us fled. Some stayed and tried to rebuild. But I couldn't bear the silence. So I joined the companionship program, not to be owned, but to learn, to explore, to bring pieces of our past into the future. Aaron looked at her with new respect. She wasn't just an alien companion. She was a keeper of a dying culture. And somehow, she had chosen to be here with him. Over the next few days, Aaron found himself opening up more. He talked about Earth, his childhood in a city full of noise and metal, and how he came to Rithenfor to get away from everything. He told her about how his mother used to hum softly when working, just like Liari did. "I think I forgot what piece." Felt like, he said one night as they watched the stars again. Liari turned to him. "You didn't forget, you just stopped looking." Those words stayed with Aaron. One afternoon, while Aaron was gone for a supply run, Liari visited the colony's central archives. She was curious about the local history, how Rithenfor was colonized, and what the humans had built here. She found records of the early miners' brave, hopeful people who turned a dead rock into a working home. But she also saw files on interspecies programs, including her own. Most of them were treated with suspicion, fear, or silence. Few talked openly about it, and even fewer understood what it meant. She decided that would change. That evening, she told Aaron, "I want to do more than just live here. I want to help others understand us, me, you, and what connection really means." Aaron blinked. "What do you mean?" "I want to teach," she said. "Not in a big school, but maybe a small gathering. People here don't know my kind. They don't know why I smile. I want to show them." Aaron nodded slowly. "You think people will listen?" Liari smiled. "If we don't try, how will they ever know?" Aaron sat in silence for a while after she went to rest. He looked around the room, no longer just metal and wires. It had warmth now, color and life. He thought of the day he signed the contract. Unsure, alone, and tired of emptiness. Just days later, he had met someone who had lost more than him yet. Still chose hope, still chose kindness. Liari was more than a companion. She was becoming a light in his life. 2 more weeks passed, and Aaron's small home felt brighter each day. Liari had made her place in it, not like a guest, but like someone who belonged. She helped in small ways, fixing loose floor panels, preparing calm music for Aaron after work, or simply sitting beside him during silent meals that were no longer awkward. Aaron started to laugh again. Not loudly, but softly. Honestly. One night, Liari even shared an old Nairi lullaby. The words were in her native tongue, flowing in light, like the sound of wind in the trees. Aaron didn't understand the language, but he felt the meaning. Peace. Healing. Hope, but peace never lasts forever. It was early morning when a knock came at the door. A loud, firm knock, one that didn't wait. Aaron opened it to find 2 strangers in dark uniforms. One was a tall, red-scaled alien woman with a silver badge on her chest. The other was a human man with a datapad and cold eyes. "Are you Aaron?" "Vale?" the woman asked. "Yes," Aaron said slowly. "We are from the Galactic Enforcement Division. It's Cultural Protection Unit," she continued. "We're here regarding your companion, Liari of Niara." Before Aaron could speak, Liari appeared. Behind him, "I'm here," she said calmly. The officer looked at her with no emotion. "You are under investigation for violating cultural protection laws. The Nayari species is registered as heritage protected. Companionship agreements with them are forbidden under any condition." Aaron frowned. "Bought her file," said she. "Signed up freely. It was all legal." The male officer tapped his datapad. "That may be. But due to recent reviews, all existing contracts involving Nayar are now subject to cancellation. Ms. Liari will be returned to her species for reassessment." Aaron stepped forward, trying to stay calm. "She didn't break any law. She chose this. You can't just take her." The female officer didn't blink. "You have 3 standard days to comply. If you do not release her, we will return with force." And with that, they turned and walked away. Liari stood still for a moment. Then she quietly sat down near the wall. Her hands rested in her lap, her eyes distant. Aaron sat beside her. "We'll fight this." She shook her head gently. "They're not wrong. The Nayari were given protected status after the war to prevent exploitation. I thought the agreement was updated, but maybe they changed it again. It's not fair. Aaron said. You came here on your own. You weren't forced. I know, Liari said. But the galaxy doesn't always listen to truth. It listens to paperwork and power. That evening, Aaron couldn't sleep. His mind raced with questions. Why now? Who changed the law? Was this just a mistake or something bigger? He opened his old hacking tools. Long ago, he had worked with old security systems during his training. He wasn't a criminal, but he knew how to dig into archives quietly. Liari stood at the door. Of the room, what are you doing? Looking for answers, he said. If they want to take you, they better have a reason. She walked in slowly and sat beside him. Be careful. Digging too deep can bring danger. Aaron glanced at her. So can staying silent. After 3 hours of digging through galactic records, he found something strange. In a sealed part of the contract archives, Aaron discovered a document labeled Nayari Cultural Adjustment Treaty Revision 7C. It was dated 2 years ago. The file said the Nayari voluntarily gave up parts of their protected status in exchange for trade access and diplomatic rights. But the update was never published? Someone had hidden it. He stared at the screen. This changes everything. Liari leaned in. Her eyes widened when she saw the old family seal at the bottom of the document. That's my house, she whispered. My ancestors created that symbol before the fall. You said your family disappeared during the war, Aaron said. Liari nodded slowly. I thought they were lost, but this proves someone survived. Someone tried to change things from the inside. Aaron closed the file and turned to her. If we show this to the right people, they can't take you. She shook her head. It's not that simple. These officers, they find out we accessed hidden files. They might erase them or call it forgery. We need to act fast, Aaron said. We have 2 days left. The next day, they visited an old friend of Aaron's, Mai Rattel, a communication technician who once worked in data law. She lived near the edge of the colony, in a dusty dome filled with blinking machines and old screens. Aaron explained everything. Mira raised her eyebrows. That file you found? It's real. I've seen revision treaties like that before. But if it was sealed, it means someone powerful didn't want it known. Can we make it public? Aaron asked. Mira nodded. Yes, but not here. I'll upload it to the Galactic Arbitration Server. If the Council sees it, they'll be forced to investigate. Liari placed her hand over Mira's. Thank you. Mira smiled. I always wanted to do something that mattered. That night, as they walked home, Aaron looked up at the stars. For the first time, he felt something deep in his chest knot. Just anger, not just fear, but determination. They wanted to erase your voice, he said. But now, they'll have to listen. Liari looked at him with warm, steady eyes. Thank you for believing in me. Aaron paused. I didn't just believe in you, Liari. I saw you. I see who you are. She gave him a soft smile, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. Just two souls walking side by side under a quiet sky, ready to face whatever came next. The sun was low over Rythenfor, casting long orange shadows across the dusty streets. Aaron and Liari moved quickly toward the colony's old archives building. It was a forgotten place, filled with records and files from decades past. Many left, untouched and gathering dust. Aaron glanced nervously around. This place is rarely visited, he said. If we're caught digging here, we could be in serious trouble. Liari smiled softly. Sometimes the truth waits in silence. We have to find it. Inside, the archives were cool and dim. Rows of metal shelves stood heavy with stacks of papers, hollow records, and data drives. The air smelled faintly of old paper and oil. Aaron headed to a terminal and quickly logged in using a password he had saved years ago. The screen flickered to life. He typed in search terms Nayari, cultural treaty, heritage status, and watched as files slowly appeared. Most were routine, some were incomplete. But then, he found a hidden folder marked confidential, for council eyes only. Liari leaned in. That's it. That must be what the officers didn't want us to see. Aaron hesitated. If we open? It could trigger alarms. Liari's green eyes met his. Sometimes risk is worth it, With a deep breath, Aaron clicked open the folder. Inside, they found scanned documents, holographic recordings, and digital notes. One file caught Aaron's attention, a hologram of a meeting between Nyari elders and Galactic Council members. The recording was old. The voices were clear. A stern Nyari elder said, "Our people suffered much. We ask for protection, but also respect. If we surrender some rights, we must not lose our identity." Council member replied, "We agree. The treaty will protect your culture and allow participation in galactic trade, but you must accept oversight." Liari's lips moved silently. "This is the treaty my family worked on. It was meant to save our people." Aaron nodded. "But what about the revisions? The hidden parts?" Liari clicked on another Fila secret addendum labeled Revision 7C. Matching what Aaron had found before, the addendum revealed that some Nyari leaders secretly agreed to remove the heritage protection for a portion of their population, allowing them to live freely as companions or diplomats. But it was never shared, Liari said softly. "Some wanted to protect us by hiding the truth. Others wanted control." Aaron's eyes widened. "That means you're part of that group, free to choose your life legally." Liari nodded. "But also hidden from both my people and the galaxy. I'm like a ghost between worlds." Aaron ran his hand through his hair. "We need to prove this." They spent the next hours copying files and preparing digital copies. Liari added personal notes explaining her choice and her family's history. Aaron organized everything clearly, knowing that if this reached the right eyes, it could change everything. As they packed up to leave, a soft sound made them freeze, the quiet click of footsteps from behind a stack of crates. A tall figure stepped out. It was the red-scaled officer who had come before. "I wondered when you'd show up here," she said, her voice cold but calm. "Looking for secrets that don't belong to you." Aaron stepped in front of Liari. "We have a right to the truth." The officer's eyes narrowed. "The truth isn't always meant for everyone, but I'm willing to listen if you promise to hand over what you've found." Liari looked at Aaron, then back at the officer. "We want peace. We want understanding. Not more hiding." The officer sighed and nodded slowly. "Very well, but be warned the council decides what is lawful. I am their enforcer." The next day, Aaron and Liari traveled to the Galactic Arbitration Hall. It was a massive station orbiting nearby, filled with representatives from many species. Inside, they stood before the council chamber, where high-ranking officials and elders listened silently. Aaron presented the hidden treaty and addendum. Liari spoke clearly about her family's history, her choice, and the meaning of freedom. Some council members whispered, skeptical, but others looked surprised and thoughtful. Then Liari did something unexpected. She spoke in her ancient Nyari, tongue a language few in the chamber understood. Her voice was strong and proud, filled with emotion. She recited an old rite honoring choice and survival. The room grew still. When she finished, one elder stood and said, "The right to choose one's path is sacred. The council must reconsider this case." After hours of debate, the council voted. The result: Liari's contract was declared valid, and her status as a free individual was recognized. The officers were ordered to respect her choice. Aaron felt relief flood through him. Liari smiled softly. "We did it." Back on Rithon 4, life returned to its gentle rhythm. Aaron and Liari worked together, not as owner and companion, but as friends and equals. Liari began teaching others about Nyari culture and history, slowly breaking down fear and misunderstanding. Aaron helped by fixing technology and organizing community events. Their bond grew, built on respect and trust, under the quiet stars. Aaron thought about how much had changed. He had purchased a companion expecting loneliness. Instead, he had found a friend who was truly happy and who helped him discover the meaning of freedom. Aaron stood on the viewing deck of the Galactic Arbitration Hall, watching the stars move slowly outside the glass dome. His heart felt heavy. Tomorrow, he and Liari would face the full council to defend her right to choose her life freely. He looked down at the data tablet in his hand. Inside it were the files they had recovered, documents showing that some Nayari leaders had given up their protected status to help their people grow. Files that had been hidden for years. Beside him, Liari stood quietly. She wore a traditional Nayori robe, soft blue with silver patterns that shimmered under the light. She had tied her hair back neatly and wore a small crest on her chest, the same family symbol they had found in the treaty. "You don't have to do this," Aaron said. "I can speak for you if you want." Liari shook her head gently. No. I need to be the one to speak. This is my story." Aaron nodded, respected her strength. She was not just peaceful and kind, she was also brave. The next day, the main chamber was full. Tall seats circled the room, with council members from many species, humans. Falari, with glowing feathers, stone-skinned Thon, and even an elder Nayari named Sarath, whose eyes were wise but hard. Aaron and Liari stood in the center, under the clear dome. A soft light focused on them. The head counselor, an old human named Kalen Vorn, spoke. "You stand before the Galactic Council to request a review of a forbidden companionship contract," he said. "The Nayari are listed as a heritage, protected species. Explain why this contract should be allowed." Aaron stepped forward. "Liari came to my world by choice. I didn't force her. She volunteered through the official program. But weeks later, enforcement officers came to take her away, saying the contract was illegal." Counselor Vorn nodded. "That is correct. Under current law," Aaron held up the tablet. "Not anymore. We found proof that the Nayari cultural status was changed 2 years ago. Some leaders agreed to give up full protection in exchange for freedom so people like Liari could choose their own lives." He passed the tablet to the assistant counselor, who uploaded it to the main screen. Everyone watched as the treaty. Files appeared, scans, audio logs, signatures, and the hidden addendum marked Revision 7C. There was silence for a moment, then murmurs filled the room. Some counselors looked surprised, others frowned. Sarath the elder Nayari leaned forward. "This document. It carries an ancient family seal," he said slowly. "One I haven't seen in many years." Liari stepped forward. Her voice was steady. "It is my family's symbol. I am Liari Veona, daughter of the House of Neelan. My ancestors were part of the council that helped form this treaty. I thought they were lost in the war, but their work lived in this hidden file." Sarath looked at her. "Many of us tried to preserve what we could, but fear kept us silent. Now we did not trust the galaxy to protect us." "I understand that," Lowry said. "But some of us want more than safety. We want the right to live, to share, and to rebuild our culture, not by hiding it, but by walking among others." A quiet hush fell over the chamber. Then Liari closed her eyes and began to speak in the ancient Nayari language, flowing like a musical tongue. She recited a rite of passage, a traditional speech that honored personal choice and independence. Even those who didn't understand the words could feel their power. When she finished, she bowed slightly. "I chose my path with a full heart. I ask only that the council respects that choice." The council withdrew for private discussion. Aaron and Liari waited outside the chamber. Minutes felt like hours. Aaron turned to her. "No matter what they decide, I'm proud of you." Liari smiled. "Thank you, Aaron. I never thought I'd stand before the galaxy and speak my truth. You helped me find that strength." Finally, the doors opened. The council returned to their seats. Counselor Vorn stood. "We have reviewed the evidence. The hidden treaty is authentic. The seal is valid. The Arveanis contract is legal and recognized under galactic law." A breath of relief escaped from Aaron's chest. Vorn continued, "We will update the official registry and investigate why this revision was hidden. The officers involved will be called for questioning. The Nayari people must now decide, will they honor this treaty and accept a future of freedom and cooperation?" Sarath, the Nayari elder, slowly stood. His face was thoughtful. "Yes," he said. "It is time." Like on Rithen 4, the mood was different. When Liari returned, people no longer looked at her with suspicion. Some even smiled and greeted her. Politely, her story had spread not just among humans, but to other species as well. She became a quiet symbol of peaceful resistance and cultural pride. Aaron helped her start a small learning center where locals could attend to hear Nayari music, stories, and ancient teachings. Some came just to listen, some came to learn. And all of them left. Changed Aaron too. Changed. He didn't hide in his workshop as much. He helped others with repairs, joined meetings, and even laughed with people he once avoided. One evening, as the sun set behind the dusty hills, Aaron and Liari sat outside their home. "Do you miss your world?" Aaron asked. Liari looked at the sky. "I do, but in a way, I found a new one." Aaron smiled. "I thought I was saving you when I signed that contract." She laughed gently. "And I thought I was entering a quiet life. Instead, I found something more." They sat in silence, watching the stars rise one by one. No longer strangers, no longer bound by papers, just two souls who had chosen to walk forward together. A soft wind blew across the hills of Rithen 4 as the twin suns dipped behind the horizon. The sky turned to deep blue and the stars slowly appeared one by one, just like they did every night. Aaron stood outside his small home, now surrounded by neat stone paths and quiet lights. The house looked almost the same as before, but inside everything had changed. So had he. Inside, Liari was gently placing scrolls on a low table in the center room. These weren't just papers, they were ancient Nayari teachings, songs, and memories she had begun to recover from old archives with the help of the council. Since the ruling at the Galactic Arbitration Hall, Liari had become more than just a companion or guest. She had become a bridge between cultures, between worlds, and between the past and the future. Each day now had purpose. Aaron still worked with machines, but not alone. He taught young workers how to repair mining bots and energy panels. In the evenings, he helped Liari run a small cultural center they had built beside their home. It wasn't fancy, just a one-room dome with cushions, soft lighting, and a display wall, but it was enough. People came every week. Humans, aliens, even young Nayari, born far from their homeworld. They sat quietly and listened as Liari spoke. She told stories from Nayari history of sky cities, songs that healed and battles that were won without weapons. She also shared quiet teachings about patience, choice, and peace. And every time someone listened, Aaron saw that same glow in her eyes, the quiet joy that first made him curious about her. One day, a young girl asked Liari, "Why do you always smile when you talk about your past, even the sad parts?" Liari paused, then answered gently, "Because sadness means we once had something worth remembering, and hope means we still have time to rebuild it." Aaron watched from the back of the room, feeling proud. Despite the peaceful days, some challenges remained. Not everyone in the colony accepted Liari's presence. A few still whispered doubts. Some still believed the old rules were safer, more controlled. But no one could deny the change she brought. More importantly, she was free, not by chance, but by law, by truth, and by her own strength. Aaron never asked her to stay. He didn't have to. One night, while sitting under the stars, he asked quietly, "Do you ever think about leaving? Going back to Nyera?" Liari looked up at the sky and smiled. "Yes, sometimes, but only as a visitor. My home now is here with you, not because I must stay, but because I want to." Aaron nodded, a quiet warmth filling his chest. Weeks later, a message arrived from the Galactic Cultural Foundation. They had heard about Liari's center and invited her to speak on several planets, places where people wanted to learn more about the Nayari and their journey. It was an incredible offer. Aaron was surprised when she told them yes. "But only if I can bring my human friend who helped me find my voice." Aaron laughed. "I'm not good with speeches." "You don't need to speak," Liari said, smiling. "Just stand beside me, like you always do." So they traveled first to a nearby planet, then to a floating learning station, then to a grand city on a moon filled with gardens. Everywhere they went, Liari shared stories. Aaron helped set up machines and screens, made tea for guests, and quietly stood by her side. In time, the title companion meant something new. Not a contract. Not a role, but a choice of person who walks beside another in freedom. One day, after a long teaching trip, they returned to Rythenfor. Aaron stepped into his workshop again. The walls were covered with new tools, and one side now held Liari's. Music stoned small crystal devices that played Nyari melodies when touched. Aaron sat at his bench, smiling as he heard soft music drift in from the next room. Liari walked in, carrying 2 cups of warm drink. She sat beside him. "It feels good to be back," she said. Aaron took a sip. "Feels like home." They didn't need many words. Their silence was filled with peace. That evening, Liari placed a small stone at the base of a tree outside their house. It was a memory stone, common in Nyari tradition. Inside it was her voice telling the story of how she left her world, met a quiet human, and found freedom through truth. She looked at Aaron and said, "Maybe one day someone will find this stone. Maybe they'll understand that kindness and choice can change everything." Aaron smiled. "And maybe they'll build something better because of it." She nodded. "That is the hope." As the night grew deeper, Aaron and Liari stood together under the stars. 2 beings from different worlds, no longer bound by silence or rules, no longer just companions, but partners in peace. Builders of something new. They didn't need grand endings or loud celebrations. Their story was already alive in shared moments, quiet strength, and the truth that even in the cold corners of space, its understanding could grow. And in that truth, Liari was not just happy, she was free.